Welcome in to DNVR Bets Daily. Another day, another slate. And Dre, I told you this morning. I don't know. You know how like when your team loses in the playoffs and you just need a little break from the sport for a little bit. You're like, maybe I'll check back in when the championship comes around. You know that
Yeah,
feeling.
I'm a Nuggets fans. That's my entire 20s you just described. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what I'm going through right now because technically we lost a bet yesterday. You know, it was $500 to charity. At least it was going to a good cause. But we lost in the Oddcast Cup to the deserving winners in Vic Lombardi and Mark Mosier. We left some shots out there, and I quite literally lost sleep over it. So I'm really trying to fight through this one today.
I hate to hear it. I was this close to letting you know live on the Periscope that West Ham had beat Chelsea. Your one bet. I went 1-3 on those bets. I went all out on the soccer, and then all sorts of insanity happened. But I held back because I saw you were locked in, and it was a tough moment, but the whole team's proud of you, Ryan. You held tough. We've got a new one coming. I would love to have some gambling lines. I must say, it was odd watching live sports for me and not having some action on it.
Yeah, I guess you at least you had a team. You had a team that you were cheering for. But yeah, it is a little bit different. What was it like watching it? You know, I was trying to imagine what it's like watching golf without having all the fancy production stuff that they do on a real golf broadcast.
Yeah, the feel was not of a golf broadcast. The feel was of an entertaining Periscope with some people who I love following along with. This will tell you how much I enjoyed it. And actually, I should pose this question. If you had to guess, how many games going on at the same time would I have to have action on to also watch your golf broadcast while all that's going on?
I'm very confused by the question, but maybe you should just give the answer.
I had 4 games going on at the same time, and yet I used one of my live screens to watch you. So that should tell you the love I have for you and how entertained I was by it all.
Well, I would say I'm pretty entertaining, and I
agree.
You did great.
You did. You made us proud, Allie. You did.
And like all, we've gotten into UFC and fighting, and all good fights have a rematch. So
that's right.
We'll get a rematch, run it back. I believe it's going to happen at the end of this month before we get real sports back. So hopefully we'll get that one, and then we'll have to do another one after that to settle the full debate. But anyways, we've got some props that we want to look at today, and they're interesting. DraftKings always getting creative with the options of what you can bet on. This one, when you go in, is going to have off-season player specials. So you go into NFL, and if you go along the top there, you'll see Cam Newton specials, which maybe we'll talk a little bit about those, and then off-season player specials. And in here, they have 3 different options, Dre, of who's going to be the starting quarterback for a given team. So we'll just go straight down from the top. The first one here is the Los Angeles Chargers. And man, I really like the value that here on Justin Herbert. Now, Tyrod Taylor is obviously the favorite here. He's minus 400, so they're saying he's a heavy favorite, and I totally understand why, because Justin Herbert, he's viewed as more of a project and this, that, and the other thing. But I don't know why the Chargers just give me this vibe that they're just going to say, F it, let's go with the kid if it's anywhere close in terms of this competition.
Yeah, if it's anywhere close being the key. And safe to assume, Tyrod, yeah, he's a solid starter. I wouldn't call him the most cerebral, though. He's not exactly Chad Pennington in his heyday, where you put him in and he's reading defenses pre-snap. He's kind of a one-read guy. You want to make half-field reads, lots of play-action boots to simplify things, get him out in space, do that kind of stuff. And playing that game, Justin Herbert could beat Tyrod at his same game and not require that much grooming to get it to where it's neck and neck, and he could win that competition with 2 preseason games only to go.
Yeah, so Justin Herbert here comes in at plus 280. And just because of the value, I mean, I would never wish this upon anyone, but Tyrod Taylor gets a little nicked.
Yeah.
We're starting Herbert week 1, and obviously once you do that, you probably never turn back. Easton Stick, who the Chargers actually really liked 2 drafts ago, plus 5,000. That would be a hell of an upset, and the odds reflect it. So I would stay away from that. But I think Herbert, there's good value there.
Yeah, I do too. I'd agree with that. Plus 280.
And, nice. What would the chart? I guess they have a really good defense. I guess that's what they would be hanging on here if they're going to start Tyrod Taylor. I just have no belief in them at all. I think they're a sub-8 win team, regardless of how they do things this year. So I think that they should get Herbert out there and let him cut his teeth.
Yeah, I think you're right. Sadly, I think they might think they're more like a 10-win team that they were under Anthony Lynn's first year, and that might force them to do the Tyrod thing. But no doubt the value all lies on Herbert's side.
Anthony Lynn, hot seat, right? You would put him on the hot seat?
I would think, but I think they like him out there. I think that one good season was really all he needed to establish himself, and I think they like kind of the program he's trying to build. This year will be a key season for him, though, because that make or break third year for sure.
I'll just say this, though, with hot seat coaches, one of the best ways to have an excuse is rookie quarterback getting his first action, making some rookie mistakes. So that costs us a game here and there. Next year, that type of stuff isn't going to happen. So something to keep in mind. All right, next one here, Miami Dolphins. Again, I really like the juice on the young quarterback here. Tua, plus 235 to start week 1. Ryan Fitzpatrick, minus 278 to start. Josh Rosen, bless his heart, plus 2,500 to start. No one has gotten a worse shake in recent memory of the situations that they've gone to.
Yeah, no kidding. Who would have thought that your favorite quarterback would have his career ended by your favorite head coach?
I mean, he's not my favorite quarterback. My favorite quarterback is the one who took his job there.
Yes, fair.
But yeah, I really did like Josh Rosen, and I'll stand by my take that he would have had a much better career if he landed in the right place. So anyways here, Tua. Now, Tua's interesting. Obviously, if you remember back to the pre-draft process, it was the hip. That's the reason why he fell to 5 in the first place. He probably would have been the number 1 overall pick if not for that. Of course, Burrow was transcendent, but I still believe that, tank for Tua. There was no such thing as blow for Burrow before there was tank for Tua. So the hip and the health there is going to be everything. Do they want to redshirt him? I just don't think that Miami has the patience for this. I mean, how many years can you roll out the Ryan Fitzpatricks of the world before your fan base just gets bored? People are excited about Tua out there. I'm sure he's selling jerseys. They're ready to see him. And Miami is ready for a fresh start. I think that as long as he's healthy, and all reports going back all the way to the draft are that he is healthy. I think that they can't resist rolling him out there. At least at this, with the plus 235. I'm not necessarily saying this should be the favorite, but I'm saying if you're going to give me plus 235, I'll lean on all those other factors for a little bit of extra juice.
Isn't it incredibly interesting that Tua, without a doubt, the more talented quarterback, but has all these injury questions, is getting better odds than Justin Herbert, who has no injury concerns whatsoever, and Ryan Fitzpatrick is a full 120 less juice than Tyrod Taylor there.
Yeah, the thing is, Justin Herbert sucks. So
yeah, fair enough.
That's why they have him lower on the list.
Wow. Okay. Fair enough. Telling it like it is. I mean, when you're right, you're right.
That's how I feel. So I don't think he is going to look nearly as good as Tua's going to look when he steps out there on the field. And, if they actually end up playing the 2 preseason games they have on the schedule now, I think Tua's going to go out there and light it up. Now, he'll have a worse receiving group than he had at Alabama, which is crazy to imagine. I mean, a significant downgrade, I would argue.
Yeah, I mean, outside of the Chiefs, though, can't you say that about just about every team in the NFL, though? Like, in fairness to Miami's receiving core.
I fully believe if you gave any team the option, and I'm talking any team, they would trade their wide receiving core from last year for Alabama's.
I say the only caveat is the Kansas City Chiefs. Every other team, I think I agree.
Well, so they'd have to give up Tyreek Hill, Sammy Watkins, and some role guys. But, Mecole Hardman. Yeah. I mean, you don't give up Tyreek, probably.
No.
But,
with
even
Ruggs
the Falcons
and Waddle.
Julio. I mean, they go Julio and Calvin Ridley. Would they hold on to those guys?
Probably. I mean, Julio is arguably like the third greatest wide receiver of all time.
But he's getting up there.
I know.
You get a fresh start with 5 young guys.
And to be in Atlanta with all those SEC fans and be able to kind of promote this, like that would be a huge PR boost for them.
That's true. But this is a significant downgrade.
Yeah.
He's going from probably multiple Pro Bowlers to just about nothing.
Devontae Parker, and I'll give you $1 if you can name another wide receiver that Carl Durrell coached up last year with the Miami Dolphins as their wide receiver coach.
Danny Amendola, is he there?
I think you're right. Yes.
Let's go. I already won a bet this weekend.
That's right. Beautiful. And we know Durrell did everything to develop Amendola's game.
Yes. He built him from the ground up.
That's right. He's done nothing prior. All this leaves us to the Patriots, though. And we followed a trend with the first 2 teams. It's the incumbent veteran who's been in this offense before and is going to have a leg up, especially because of the shortened off season, less preseason games, all that's going on with the NFL offseason right now. But then you get to the Patriots, where there are 2 veteran incumbents very familiar with this offense who've had at least a year, if not multiple years under their belt. And yet you have the big name quarterback who just got signed in Cam Newton as a -400 favorite.
There's a lot at play here. And let me start by saying I'm in a take conundrum here because 2 of my own takes are fighting against each other. One of my takes is that Cam Newton is washed and that he can't really throw anymore. Like when you watch him try to throw, it doesn't look natural to him anymore.
Yes.
My other take was that I feel weird even calling it hype because he's not even deserving of that. But the buzz around Jarrett Stidham was so weird to me. Like, where did it come from? All these people are only getting the benefit of the doubt because of the decal on their helmet. Yes. People are just saying, like, Jarrett Stidham, 4th round pick who underachieved in college. Like, oh, yeah, well, Belichick, of course he'll be good. And that was driving me crazy. And then, the same thing goes for Cam Newton. Remember, all 32 NFL teams had a chance to sign Cam Newton for months.
Yep.
And no one was making a big stir about it, about how this amazing quarterback was out on the market because he hasn't been good for multiple years now. He actually did have a pretty good 2018. I need to give him credit for that. But he looked off at the end of that season.
Yeah.
He looked off when he played last season. I just think he's lost it. He's never been the same since the Broncos obliterated him in the Super Bowl. So I'm fighting my own takes here. I don't know where to go with this. But one thing that's really, I think, going to be interesting is the terminology of the Patriots offense is very, very, very different from anything Cam Newton's done in his career. Now, that's not to say he's not a professional. I mean, have you ever seen the video of him breaking down, calling audibles at the line and whatnot?
No, I've watched bits and pieces. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's like the Graham Bensinger interview or something, and he's it's incredible. I mean, his football mind is fantastic. But with Belichick and McDaniels, I think they're going to be so particular about the guy out there making he's got to have it down pat. And Jarrett Stidham has a full year head start on him. And Brian Hoyer, who is sitting here at plus 3,300, I mean, already has it down. So I could see anything happening here. This is the one where I'm saying, the Brian Hoyer pick, Belichick and McDaniels are crazy enough, in my opinion, to say like Cam's not ready. He with the playbook yet.
Yes,
like we fully plan on getting him in here, but he's not ready yet. Our goal is to have him on track by week 4 or something crazy like that. And they asked Brian Hoyer to go get them, 2 wins in the first 4 weeks. So I'm not saying that's likely, but heck, 33-1 on Brian Hoyer starting out there week 1 because they say Cam's not ready isn't crazy to me. Now, Stidham is the one where, why wouldn't they just go Stidham? I don't know. I don't really have a good answer for you on that unless he's not ready either. But Cam Newton is basically trying to learn Spanish between now and week 1. And anyone who's ever learned a foreign language knows that's not very easy.
I think learning Spanish would be easier than learning the Patriots' complex offense that's been run by the same guy for damn near 20 decades. And an offense
20 decades.
I've said 2 decades. That'd be impressive.
This guy is old.
Tom Brady is immortal, but maybe not quite to that level. No, I think Stidham's a nice value here because this is an offense that prioritizes guys that have been in there before, like Hoyer. And not to go all cross sports on you, but I do like your case on Hoyer there. In fact, dare I say, I think it would be more likely the scenario you unfolded with Hoyer where Cam's not ready physically or with the playbook. Maybe Belichick and McDaniels look at each other and say, look, man, the locker room's going to fall apart if we put Stidham in the driver's seat. Like, we can't justify giving him the job. It has to be Hoyer for these first couple weeks. Let's get on the right track, and then we'll bring Cam along. I think that's more likely than the field winning the Nathan's hot dog contest, which is at plus 550.
No, I think you're right. And this is, man, I could really talk myself into this Hoyer pick. Because the more I think about it, I ask myself, why wouldn't they just go with Stidham? Well, that's obvious. Yeah. Stidham's thrown 1 pass in his career, and it was a pick 6. And you're asking a guy to go just steady the ship. Now, I know they pulled it off with Jimmy G and Jacoby Brissett that one year, but why wouldn't they just say, like, we think Hoyer can hit a bunch of checkdowns and just keep us in the game while our defense, balls out there? I think they'd be much more comfortable doing that with Hoyer than they would be with Stidham.
By the way, that's the formula that won them like 10 games last year.
Yeah,
it's not like Brady was lighting it on fire. He's just checking it down, and the defense is doing all the heavy lifting. Yeah, there's a path. There's a path here for sure.
I've been talked into it. At 33-1, I've talked myself into it. That is worth sprinkling.
Yes, I'd agree. I think the Patriots, both those lines are Stidham and Hoyer might be worth a sprinkle, layered sprinkle.
I might be the lowest. Well, no, I'm not alone here because I saw Phil Simms and some other guy basically had the exact same take as me, which is like
Stidham.
Well, no, it was just like, where is this Cam Newton is like gonna be awesome all of a sudden coming from? Like, and I'm of the belief that the Patriots are scummy enough to have signed Cam Newton for the sole reason of deflecting the PR from them getting caught cheating. Like, literally no other reason. Like, totally planning on cutting him before the season. Only did it just to deflect the PR. That would not surprise me 1 iota.
We agree. And look at the guaranteed money on that deal Cam signed.
What
from a PR, right? From a PR standpoint, well worth the price of doing this PR stuff.
Oh yeah, not to go all Darren Rovell on everyone, but it's definitely worth $1 million something to deflect everyone calling you out for getting caught cheating for the whoever knows how many times it's been now. Like, how is no one talking about that? That's actually maybe the ups. Like, whoever's idea it was to sign Cam Newton to deflect the PR deserves a raise of a substantial raise, probably the same amount of money that Cam Newton's going to get, because no one is talking about the fact that the franchise in sports known most for cheating was proven guilty cheating once again, and really got just a lackluster penalty from the NFL. Like, the NFL basically said, like, please go cheat some more.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a good look. It's not a good look. I think they're almost like, well, whatever. I mean, we took 2 picks and we suspended Brady 4 games last time. This time you were just spying the Bengals. Fine, we'll take a third and we'll fine you a couple mil or 1.5 or 1 mil, whatever they find. Yeah, I really will. Yeah, it's kind of weird.
The slap on the wrist stuff is such a joke when it comes to like if this was the first time, I would have been fine if there was no penalty at all. But this is a pattern of just straight cheating. I don't know, crazy to me. Anyways, before we move on, big shout out to DraftKings Sportsbook. Right now, listeners of this show and just DNVR family members or just anyone can go over to DraftKings Sportsbook, the top-rated sportsbook app in the country, and use the code DNVR and get $1,000 sign-up bonus when they use the code DNVR. So make sure you head over there, get that $1,000 sign-up bonus, use the code DNVR, make sure they know you're part of the family, and get in on all the fun with us. Of course, you must be 21 or older, Colorado only. The bonus is comprised of a first deposit bonus and a first bet match, each up to $500. And the deposit bonus requires a 25x playthrough and restrictions to apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. And if you have a gambling problem, please make sure you call 1-800-522-4700. All right, Dre. Well, it feels like Friday. It's not quite Friday yet. We got plenty of stuff to cover for the weekend. A little bit of a light slate here as we move towards tomorrow. I'm looking at this golf tournament. It's really interesting. Bryson DeChambeau came in at plus 600, which is a heavy favorite. And one thing you should know about this tournament is the leaderboard last year at this tournament basically looked like if you put a randomizer of white guys' names in and just pressed generate and then just ranked them 1 through 10. That was the leaderboard at this. Like no one had ever heard of these guys. It's like Nate Lashley and
Lashley.
Yeah, like I mean, no one had heard of these people. He was like
last year, yeah.
I mean, I think like 9 out of the top 10 were ranked outside of the top 300 in the world golf ranking. Like the most ridiculous. So no one wanted to get in on the favorites here this week. But I will say these guys had a pretty good start. Bryson, though, he's off the lead, and his odds have been sliced in half and then some. He's all the way down to plus 275. They might as well just hand him the trophy at this point.
Yeah. But he looked unbelievable too, dude.
Yeah, just
his game's so crisp right now. He's incredible.
The things I would do to be able to hit the ball that far and that straight, there's really no limit on that.
And then he's nailing these buttery long putts. He's in the rough and he's just like scooping them up. I swear there was this one approach shot where he just like dropped it a foot from the pin and it just stopped dead. It was just so good. Like someone who like me barely even knows golf. Like it's just fun to watch, man.
Yeah. The only thing that's not fun watching to me is his putting. I hate his putting stroke. It's so ugly.
Oh, really?
Everything he does is so robotic, but I like watching him hit drives because it is like watching one of those robots hit drives like a million miles. Hello. We are live right now. So anyways, that's my dad.
Hi. Welcome to the show. Your greater point is the field is much stronger this year.
Well, the field appears to be much stronger. The leaderboard is much stronger. And you got like Redmond in there, who was someone who people were looking at before this. A lot of people liked. Stallings actually had some pre-match hype. But DeChambeau, just the fact that he's even near the lead is giving him. They're basically saying like he's the best player in this field by a considerable margin. He's the one at the top of the leaderboard. He should win.
Yeah, absolutely. What's interesting is coming in, Ricky had a decent amount of juice. I know there's people at Sportsline does models to kind of simulate all these tournaments and give out betting advice and stuff. And they had Ricky as having a nice tournament. And already coming into yesterday, he was at like plus 3,000, which for Ricky, obviously I'm talking about Ricky Fowler. I know he's such a friend of the program here. I barely even say his last name, which seemed odd. I mean, he'd struggled up to this point. Well, he started off on fire as well, -5, tied for 11. His odds have gone up. But another guy who cut his odds in half, basically. because he's at 1,800 instead of 3,000, which is where he was at, before this first round. So he's gone up. Webb Simpson back in the field after he bowed out of last week's tournament because a family member had COVID. He's back. Decent, but not super impressive. I know a lot of people were low. Our Tyler Hatton coming into the week, he had a nice first day. And Victor Havland is someone people are excited about coming into the week. People are excited about Matsuyama as well. He really stunk it up today. I believe he was just -1 on the day. So and
I'd
your
love
guy
to stink it up and shoot 1 under.
Well, I know. Same. And then Tony Finau came in with better odds than he has at this point. So
So here's what I'm looking at. One thing you should know about Ricky, Andre, is that he went back to his old clubs this week. And this is something I've always thought about with professional golfers. I mean, they're paid a lot of money to do so it makes sense why they do. But anytime, if Ricky is he's a King Cobra guy, that's who he's sponsored by. Anytime they come out with something new, they need him playing it, right? Mm-hmm. Because you want to be able to say Ricky's playing the new whatever 3000s. And I've always thought that is so weird because, most golfers will tell you when you find a club that you like, it's years. Yeah. I'm in the process of getting new irons right now. I've had mine since I was a junior in high school. Oh, wow. These guys are expected to change multiple times a year, and I've always thought that's crazy. Tiger was always steadfast, and you can do this when you're Tiger, but he never changed his putter for the longest time. He's like, this is my putter. I don't care who sponsors me. This is what I putt with. Right. But most guys, the new drivers out, you got to use that. New balls are out, you got to use those. Well, Ricky this week says enough is enough. I'm going back to my old clubs, and he looks a lot better. So maybe it's as simple as that for him. And that leads me to some of my picks for tomorrow. I'm going to the tournament props where you can get the over-under on round scores. This feels like the safest bets to me. You don't have to worry about, I'm picking DeChambeau to beat this guy. DeChambeau shoots 6 under, or somehow this guy shoots 9 under. You were right that DeChambeau's going to have a good day, but you didn't realize Hatton was going to go off or something. Right. So anyways, speaking of DeChambeau under 67.5 tomorrow. Remember, this is a par 72, first one we've had in a few weeks. So he's got to shoot 5 under or better tomorrow. I'm good with that. He's 6 under today, 5 under tomorrow. That is very doable, I think. We're going to go Ricky under 68.5. So again, 4 under is what he needs to do tomorrow. I love the way he looked at those clubs. I just felt like he was a lot more comfortable using those. And then I'm going to throw in Tony Finau. I think he's due for a big day tomorrow. I think he shoots under 68.5, 4 under for Tony Finau.
Even money there. Yeah, Ricky came into the day at 68.5 himself, shot a 67, kind of kicking myself for not taking that under with all that valid advice I had coming in on how people thought Ricky would do well. And in fact, he did. You can get, I need to see. Okay, I'll check that in a second. I'm also intrigued by Patrick Reed here, especially since his odds have become a little better. He wasn't on fire coming into this first round, but enough to salvage things a little bit.
Yeah, what did he shoot today?
He ended up, I believe he was 2 under as well. I have it right here. He was tied for 68th with Jason Day and others at under 2.
I'm not a big Patrick Reed guy. You have to really convince me to bet on him.
No, I know. Just looking at the field, he seemed like better value than some of the other guys we had in here. Especially since I'm trying to figure out a good strategy to pick. I want to be like you, RK. I want to pick the winner and win big. That's what it's all about. I'm getting into golf because of this.
This is good, and this is something I've been talking about a lot with people about the game of golf as a whole. Young people betting on golf is it's amazing for the game. Now people want to go out there and play, and now they're putting Bluetooth speakers in the carts. Golf is figuring it out how to get gambling, beer. I mean, what more do you want?
That's right. Can't wait to give our under 18 crowd some gambling golf advice to get the youth into the sport.
we're grooming them for when they're of age to
That's
really enjoy it.
What did Tony do?
Tony was 3 under.
Oh, okay, that's not bad. That's not bad at all.
I need him to start winning so they start featuring him more. I love watching him play. The way he swings the club is just awesome to me, and he's like a fringe name. He hasn't quite earned the household. And I just need him to get a couple wins here so people start paying attention to him more. I swear he's not in the featured groups. They rarely show him on the course. It really gets on my nerves. Anyways.
You could take Victor Hovland in the matchups for tomorrow to beat Harold Varner, and he's just a -120. Harold once again struggled, Harold's becoming kind of my Brighton. I've you bet on him enough that you start to fade him after a while.
Yeah, it's always tough when they lose your trust. 2 under today, though.
True. Yeah, I mean, not great.
Oh, VJ Singh's in the field.
I couldn't, but I had a triple take, and I was like, "Wait, is that VJ there?"
Well, is it?
Enough, it was. Yes. He's looking great in his old age. Now he's got this gray hair. He just looks phenomenal.
That's awesome. Yeah. He's got to be in his 60s, right?
He's up there. Yeah, it has to be. I wish.
Well, maybe not quite there. Phil just turned 50. Still awesome. All right. Anything else for is there any Premier League tomorrow that we can look at?
Since there's no real valid soccer picks to have for tomorrow, I will remind you it is a Jokic night in the KBO. He's still under 2 ERA. He's 7-2 on the season. He's going against the KT Wiz, third worst team in the KBO, and you can get the KT Wiz to go under 3.5 runs at +114. So that'll be my one pick for the evening.
I like it. I've got 3 on the golf tomorrow.
Oh.
What was that?
Keep going. I need to check this golf prop, this odds boost that I bet on, and I still haven't seen how it went. So I'm anxious to give you results live.
We're waiting with bated breath.
I guess so. You don't have any picks for us. You're sticking to your. Oh, you gave me the golf. Yeah, well, fair enough. It still hasn't come in. I wasn't watching early, so I don't know if Webb Simpson, Ricky Fowler, and Nate Lashley, the defending champ, who you can get at something like +10,000 to win the tournament again, if they all hit the fairway on their first hole.
Oh, and you still don't know if they did or not.
I don't. That was an odds boost at +145. If you know how I could even find this out before I wait to get paid or my money taken, you could reach out to me in the comments.
Well, I got you. Go to the PGA. Just type in PGA leaderboard. Go to the main leaderboard on their website, and you can go hole by hole and see where each guy's shot was on each hole, and so you can click through there.
Okay, I'll be doing that.
All right. Chris Hill, our guy, says, what about the Nathan's hot dog eating contest? He thinks it's Friday too, but it is not Friday. It is Thursday. Wait. So we will talk more about that silly event tomorrow on the show, in which they don't even know the names of the other participants. It's just, do you want Joey or do you want the field?
Yeah.
And apparently the women's hot dog eating contest has a similar favorite.
That's right.
Mickey Sudo?
Yeah, I mean, I know from just looking at these lines yesterday, as you are right now.
We can go ahead.
I have noticed that I think the odds have decreased just slightly on Joey Chestnut and just slightly on the field. So the field was at +650. They're now at just +550, and Joey was at +180 or something, and now he's +1,000 straight up. So something's going on there.
I mean, I kind of feel like I'm going to save it. But there is an odds boost here. If he sets the record again, his own record,
I like
+200.
Oh, I like that.
Do you think it's rigged?
No.
You don't think they give him 3 or 4 smaller dogs to make sure he breaks the record every year?
No, in all honesty, I think these are some of the greatest athletes we have seen in our time. What they can do, truly no one else can do. I mean, I can get lucky and bloop a single into,
No, you couldn't.
well, not off a 90 mile per hour fastball, but in my backyard playing with my buddies, I could do something like that. I could score a goal. I can make a hoop. I cannot, under any circumstances, come close to like 60 hot dogs in a minute.
No one who says I can make a hoop can make a hoop.
I could score a hoop, right? I could do that. It's feasibly possible.
Next time, say like I could get a bucket.
Yeah, I could drain a basket. Sure. Okay, fine.
Yeah, it's true. If there's one thing you definitely like. All right, here's what we go. $1 million on the line.
Yeah.
What is imaginary land? $1 million on the line.
Making baskets is imaginary land.
You've got to hit. You got to get a base hit in an MLB game, or eat over 50 hot dogs in however much time they have. Which one are you trying?
Yeah, I mean, okay. In that sense, yeah, I've got a better shot at eating 50 hot dogs.
Yeah, but then like you think of like the physical pain you would have to endure.
I don't know. I retract that statement. I think like a blind swing or like a lucky bunt might be more likely than me being able to eat more than I've ever ate before.
Yeah.
You know, like maybe the pitcher takes a little. You know, like he takes something off. Yeah.
Oh, but the thing is, if you had time to train, you would definitely go with the hot dogs.
I don't know. That's a toughie. That's a toughie, man.
All right, we will wrap it up. Allie's getting antsy over here. She might just press end broadcast if we don't shut up soon.
I'm close to it. All this hot dog talk has me hungry.
Yeah, me too.
Come on.
All right, we're going to get out of here for today. Great show, Andre. Thanks for lifting up my spirits. It's been a tough day for me.
I'm glad I could do it. Right.
And we'll get with DraftKings about setting the odds on the rematch. Now they have, they have a sample size to work with.
It's true.
So there we go. All right. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Appreciate you guys for tuning in to DNVR Bets Daily, and we'll be back with you tomorrow.